came out like ants.
Yeah.
You know, you stir up an ant nest and they just run out like red ants. I love that part. Now, one of the things that you don't see,
the car.
One thing you don't see in the game is you didn't see any children be clickers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that when you showed that
Little girl.
right there. It was a clear little girl. I was like, at first I couldn't tell. I just thought it was a little woman, and then I was like, oh Jesus, man, that's a child. Very nimble child.
Doing gymnastics. Yeah.
And I've been announcing it, but I'm going to announce it again, that we have sold out all of our highest tier tickets for Double Toasted Live in Brooklyn, New York. That's going to be April 1st. It's going to be a very loose discussion for The Last of Us on episode 5 now. For those who don't know the game, what you do, you know, if you know the game, you know the movie or the TV show, you know all this. If you're watching this, and if you haven't, then you might not want to watch because this will be a very spoilery discussion right here potentially, I'm sure. But this is the episode that centers on Henry and his little brother Sam.
That's right. Yeah.
And you know, I'll just start out by taking it to you guys here. You know, what did you think of this episode?
Well, I really liked it, especially because I was not the biggest fan of episode 4. Because it's funny, that episode was the first one that felt like, okay, you're really trying hard to emulate every aspect of the game in terms of like the combat and certain sequences. And I was like, I'm not really, it didn't capture the cinematic feeling. But I saw that they were, you know, kind of building up the characters of Henry Sam in that. They kept layering their names throughout that episode, especially the Raiders and the character of Kathleen. By the time we finally got to this episode, and it kind of goes, you know, back in the past, and we see everything from their perspective, and really build on their relationship and, you know, them as characters, and finding out what, you know, Henry did to protect Sam safe. It just adds more, you know, depth to the both of them, and makes what happens, you know, all the more tragic. Especially, you know, even for someone's like, I know what's going to happen, I'm just like, well, maybe, maybe they did such a great job.
We didn't know what was going to happen because they bring in some new characters. So for anybody who has played the game, you know that a lot of the Raiders and the humans, that the bad humans you fight, they're there for you to kill. Yeah. It's a game. They're there for you to just go in and shoot or fight or mangle real bad. And the show wanted to come in and humanize these characters more. So that's when they brought in the character of Kathleen. And I keep forgetting that
Melanie Linsky.
Melanie Linsky, who, you know, for all appearances, comes off really shitty, man.
Yeah, I was like, you sure you didn't want to name her Karen?
Yeah. I mean, no, she is a very shitty person.
I mean,
man.
she admits it though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, which I kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not my brother. I was like,
yeah, I know. You know, my brother was here. He would tell me to do the right thing, and I should do the right thing. All that.
Yeah, and everybody fed her ego too. They said, "Hey, I wish I had the episode. I mean, I wish I could play this part because I don't have it." But they told, you know, like her side hand man. He said, "You know what? Yeah, you're not your brother. You get shit done." You know, I mean, that's what we need in this kind of this new world we're living in. We need ruthless people like you. And she is ruthless. She is a bitch, man. And she says things and does things that just seem unforgivable, man, or somebody that you just cannot sympathize with at all. And right here, she's talking about, now she's been after Henry. And that's the thing with the difference between the game and here. Now that they're humanizing these characters, you have the certain people looking for Henry and Sam. Before you just met them, and they were just surviving. Here, Henry has done something to Kathleen, and she hates his ass.
And it's bad too.
Yeah, which I like. No, it's bad. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. She hates him,
and she's to the point of devoting resources of the town to like stop everything you're doing. Yeah, find Henry,
ignoring something that they probably should be paying attention to.
It should be priority one.
But her whole thing is, I don't give a about that. Get Henry. Hey, have you found Henry? Hey, Henry, have you brought Henry to me? Do I see Henry here? Then find Henry.
Yeah, why are you here talking to me and not finding Henry?
Yeah, and Henry did something pretty bad. We'll get into in a little bit, which feeds into a bigger discussion I'm having. Then I'm starting with Kathleen right here. Now, Kathleen, she says, you know, I don't care why you did it. And the reason why he did it is because he was looking out for his little brother.
Right.
And we'll still get into it in a little bit. Kathleen is like, listen, I don't care. And by the way, I saw why you did, or I know why you did what you did, because you wanted to save your little brother. You were getting some medicine for him. But, you know, I mean, hey, look, you ever thought that maybe that little was supposed to die?
Yeah, when she says that, you're like, Jesus.
Did you ever stop to think that maybe he was supposed to die?
He's just a kid.
Well, kids die, Henry.
Hey, but you can't argue with that. Now, here's what I like about this episode is that I know people, they want to hate something. They want to see something as a villain. We want things clear cut. When you first introduced to Kathleen, you start thinking Kathleen, you know, she's a horrible person. But when you get down to it, Kathleen is really not that much different from somebody like Henry. You know, Henry screwed over a lot of people, including Kathleen. Henry admits it. He says, listen, I turned a guy over to be tortured and murdered. And I did it because I wanted to save my little brother. There's a scene where he's sitting down, he's talking to Joel about it. And he's telling Joel that, hey, you know, listen, I did it because my little brother and boy, Sam is terrible in this. I mean, he had life handed him a bad one. Yeah. He got a bad deck of cards.
Deaf, leukemia, and everything else.
Yeah, leukemia. He ain't got his ears.
Yeah,
he was dealt a bad hand. But Henry says, I want to save my little brother, so I did what I had to do, and I sold your brother out and probably a few other people.
Yeah. Anyway, there was one drug that worked. So I gave them something big. That one great man.
He's talking about how he screwed over a great man. That great man was Kathleen's brother. What I like about this is that they're starting to show, and not in a heavy-handed way. And you guys can tell me what you think about this. Mm-hmm. It's like the more I see this, man, I see like this is not a clear cut and dry situation here. I can't really hate anybody. I can't really love anybody. Everybody's just doing what they have to do, and everybody's getting screwed over somehow. The only situation is like she's going after a kid, but I don't know. It's hard for me to judge.
Well, that's what I like about it, that it's so morally complicated.
Yeah.
Because in the original game, now it has been some time since I played the whole Henry and Sam section. They've added so much to it, with this, where it's like, okay, especially Henry, he did something so horrible and it cost a great man's life and probably other people as well. And this entire community suffered for it. And so it's like, okay, but he did a bad thing for a good reason. Mm-hmm. How's that, settle with you? And I like that because it inspires conversation and shows how complicated that is. The same thing with Kathleen. Like, she gets a great scene when she's talking about her upbringing and what her brother did for her. And it's like, she's, she freed these people, but at what cost? Her soul and these other people were just scared. I love that it's inspiring all these conversations. It's fun. It's good.
Yeah, no, it is good. The only thing that I would say that makes Kathleen worse is Kathleen.
Oh, she's selfish.
She's selfish because she has been consumed. It's not,
by vengeance.
But yeah, what Henry did was bad. Mm-hmm. And again, this is a different world, so I can't even really come in and try to judge. But Kathleen has gotten to the point she's consumed by vengeance, and at this, right now she's so consumed by it that it's not that she's even going through people. It just seems like she's just taking it out on other people. Mm. She's got those hostages, are those people she brought in.
Yeah, she's got those hostages who she's willing to kill. She's got the doctor who delivered her, who they had a relationship, who she kills. And she's not killing him to save anybody. It is all in the service of satisfying her bloodlust. And so, I mean, look, there's a lot of, morally gray and complicated things going on here. But if I got to choose who I think is better than the other, it's not going to be Kathleen.
No, Kathleen's much worse because she's so consumed by it. She's to the point where she's willing, she's committing mass murder, and she thinks she's doing it to get information, and she's getting back at people who pretty much helped in the death of her brother. But she's really doing it because, like you say, she's got a bloodlust, and she's not going to be able to satisfy it, even if she kills Henry.
Yeah.
Watching us get thrown in prison, watching us hang so that you could get medicine. How does it make you feel now?
And we saw some burned bodies in the last episode. It was all those people. She had them all purged. She had them all murdered, shot, and then she burned the bodies. Nah, she's a bitch, man. But she's
I don't see any way around that.
Yeah. No, she's too consumed by her vengeance. Plus, her dumb ass, as somebody mentioned in the chat, she killed a doctor in the apocalypse. Somebody you need. Stupid ass. That's the thing about it. Like, we all knew that was going to be her downfall. And see, this is what I love about this episode. There's a lot of moral ambiguity. It's asking you to question things, but it's also an episode where they said, all right, listen, we are somewhat of a zombie show. I mean, we're more about the humans here. We're more about talking about, the world that these humans are living in, the decisions that they have to make. But, I mean, we got to give people what they want, man. And I'm getting what I want. I'm getting a lot of characterizations, but we all want some good zombie action in here. Yeah. And man, they delivered on that shit. I think that so this was a part of the game where the Raiders show up and when they're traveling with Henry, and you have Joel, who's perched in a room, taking him out. I thought it was cool. He killed that old man too.
No, he's like,
he said, "Man, look, please
don't do it."
That man, plus he old. He wasn't even quick.
He couldn't shoot to begin with. He even says like, "This guy can't shoot for shit." He's just missing.
And his old ass up there.
I only feel bad for the old man in as much as in his brain he would have calculated. Listen, if I just roll over for this guy, I got to face Kathleen, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably why.
He was dead no matter what.
Yeah,
his choice was.
He can't even turn his head.
He don't want to look.
Oh shit! Okay, I guess they shot his ass. Yeah. He was all slow with this shit. Looking at all of that, what they're doing with building a character and everything, that's great. All that's a lot of fun. But I think that this is what I was talking about when I said that I think live action can do some things probably better than what they do in the game, as far as showing you things and how they look. The horde that comes out, and this is what I'm talking about. Kathleen, she's so busy trying to get Henry. Right. People telling her, what are we going to do about all these infected that we just buried in the ground and now it's starting to bubble up? And she's like, don't worry about Henry. And I'm like, all right.
Get me Henry, and then we can talk about whatever bullshit else you got going on.
We're going to talk about this right here. They came out like ants.
Yeah.
You stir up an ant nest and they just run out like red ants. I love that part. Now, one of the things that you don't see,
the car.
One of the things you don't see in the game is you didn't see any children be clippers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I love that when you showed that
little girl
right there. It was a clear little girl. I was like, at first I couldn't tell. I just thought it was a little woman, and then I was like, oh Jesus, man, that's a child. Very nimble child.
Doing gymnastics. Yeah.
They're like, so I take my chances outside.
I like that sequence. That was cool.
I think that these are one of the few touches. I'm not trying to be this person that compares the show to the game and whatnot. I don't want to do that. They both have a lot of merit on their own. But I do think that was one of the touches I thought was better in the show. Yeah. It's like, man, we get to see more variations of these infected. They never showed any children in there.
No, that's true. That's true. And now they do a thing afterwards where they say they had a horde coordinator work on getting all that together.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I saw that.
I will say it's only less visceral to me watching it because the camera's at a distance because it's trying to show everything as opposed to being in the game where I felt more like oh shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, and I think that's where, again, it's like one is not really better than the other. I think like, when I say I think they did better touches is that you see more here than you saw in the game.
I will say this. I feel like they're handling the action sequences with the clickers and the infected very well in the show. But the thing and this was last episode, was my big criticism. I don't think they're handling the action scenes between the humans very well.
Yeah,
it feels like it's not very well choreographed or as brutal, because you can get more brutal with these things because they're monsters, right?
Yeah,
but now with the humans, it's like, we don't want to show that. I'm just like that and that. I'm like, I feel like you're taken away, especially from like Joel. Now they could be doing that for a very good reason.
I could see them doing it because they want us to look. We're following Joel for the most part, and we as to follow him, we have to like Joel,
right?
And he can't be a barbarian at first and ruthless. But as with the game, it should start to increase where it starts to get brutal to a point where there should be a point in the middle or toward the end where you're like, man, I don't know how I feel about this Joel.
Yeah, well,
that's what I want.
See that now. Listen, that's what they're going to probably start doing the next episode, because I did a whole discussion where I said, is he softer than he is in the game? And the answer is yes. But does that mean that he's worse? And I don't think so, because I think that they're hiding his brutality. As you said, when you play the game, you got to be that brutal. You can't watch this guy be that brutal because you're going to be repulsed by him after a while. Now, the next episode, they're starting to reveal that we murdered people.
Yeah. They layer that in.
Yeah. Where his brother's like, man, you know that everything we did.
Yeah. So they can't. I think from a storytelling point of view, in this format, you can't show Joel being brutal like that. It has to be slowly revealed that this guy chipped away, that this guy is not the guy that we think he is, because we know what this guy is like. But for people who haven't played the game, they're going to follow this guy and think that he's probably got a good heart.
Right.
There's going to be one of those stories where he's going to warm up to Ellie, and we're going to get this, this nice father and son story. I mean, father and daughter story. And it's not going to be that simple, because we're going to learn that he's not a good person. And he's probably going to get more brutal as we see.
Right.
I found Joel the most likable in this episode, because he's really having to look out for these 3 children the whole time, like with stuff like, hey, keep it down and hang back. And even to where Henry is saying to him, like, you're a daddy. You might not be her daddy, but you were somebody's daddy. Yeah. And it's like, you watch all his mannerisms throughout this episode. That's totally what he's showing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought they handled the bloater very well. I mean, since we're talking about, the action here. And I thought it was going to be kind of corny, because he's going to come out and start roaring like Godzilla and everything. And I said, this is where I'm going to have to see how this plays out in the show, because it's easier to accept that in the game. With the sort of the extra layer of realism that they've applied to this show. I was wondering how that was going to work, and I think they handled it pretty well. Run, find cover, don't look back. Bro, she must have gave him some pussy or something.
No, to get that kind of loyalty, you don't give him the pussy.
Oh, okay.
You just dangle it always.
It's like Lord Friend Zone.
Leave them hoping.
Well, you ain't no hope now, run.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he would not have stuck around to do that if he knew that's how things were going to go.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. What were you thinking, man? Saw him like bulldozing over people like before he got to you. What, you stupid ass. I thought that they handled that well, man. And I thought that was a cool payoff, because I don't want this to be the show where we have like these forced in zombie set pieces, because that's what people want to see, because we need action. I want this to be more character driven. So I think they've been good pacing out the zombie scenes here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm a dissenting voice, because I did feel it was that. Where the zombies were kind of pushed in because it's about zombie time. People and zombies are trying to get them in there, because they're in our main characters we're following. They're in a point where they're about to die. Nothing can save them. Right. So cue the event that does it, and the horde of the zombies. And I like the bloater, and at the same time, it does look like a guy in a suit. He moves so humanly, as opposed to the clickers who don't.
Just popping and locking all
the
time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's fat.
No, he moves like a muscle man.
And I think that's a lot of CG on that character too, of course. So I thought it was cool. They put in parts from the game. Again, little things that they don't make a big deal out of, like the shiv. If you get caught by a clicker, the only way you can get out of that is with a shiv. either saving yourself or somebody else. And they had the Shiv part with Ellie here saving Sam. I thought that was cool. And I thought, maybe she saved Sam in time because they're changing things here.
They are, yeah.
Like, again, Sam is deaf, but then at the same time, I said, there's so many signs that he's dead. I mean, for
that little 1,000-yard stare is later on in the episode, just not really listening.
I know. Well, first of all, they just have, they made things way too.
Listen.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, Martin.
No, they set up things here where, like, they had them being way too loving, man.
Oh, sure. Yeah, him and Allie were just bonding.
Like, or when him and Henry are hugging, I was like, that's hugging goodbye to each other. I was like, yeah, y'all dead. Yeah, that's
too affectionate.
Yeah, too affectionate. That's y'all's kissing y'all's asses goodbye right now. No, you were right. They had Ellie and Sam were just having too much fun. They bonding too well.
Yes! Come on! Yeah! Come on, pass it back. Yeah!
So shut the
What's all this having fun?
Ain't supposed to be having fun. This is the apocalypse, goddammit. Wish that kid was dead. And then they had that scene with Sam. They finally showed the scene where Sam got bitten. I was like, damn, that's it, man. And I like it because it looked like at first that I didn't think this would work, but was this in the game where she's like, maybe I could save you with my blood?
They change a lot in this end sequence because Sam does not reveal he gets bit in the game.
Yeah.
So he puts everyone in danger.
That's right.
So here he's like, he admits it.
Yeah.
And Ellie's like, oh, let me see if maybe this will help, or I'll be up there with you.
Yeah, I was just so like, it's time to go tell the adults what you know right now.
Yeah, well, she didn't want to tell Joel because Joel would kill his ass.
Yeah,
Oh,
Joel would kill him.
I know.
Yeah.
But the alternative is you wake up to him eating your neck.
Yeah, well, she's a kid,
Maybe my magic blood, because that's the whole thing.
Because that's what she's thinking. She's thinking like,
maybe that'll do it. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works, honey.
Yeah. I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna sleep out here and lock the door.
Badass. Now I love this right here because Henry is just confused.
Yeah,
he doesn't know what to do. He knows this is bad, but he doesn't want to kill his little brother. But he knows, hey, look, something's got to be done. That's where we're like, hey, this is gonna play out like the game. Yep, it was, and I'm glad that they didn't change that. I mean, because I would have loved to have seen them live. I just felt like a little bit of a cop out for me.
It would have been a cop out. Plus, how can Henry live with himself? Like everything he's given up, all this death and destruction to save his brother, and Kathleen was right. Yeah, maybe he was supposed to die.
That's that when Kathleen said that, I was like, that speech is leading to his death later on. Yep. Somebody said Henry got plus 100 points for that. Yep.
What did I do?
This actor's great.
No, he is.
By the way, I forgot the actor's name. I never even really knew it, but that actor's great in this scene right here.
What did I do? Give me the gun. Give me the gun.
I'll tell you something else that let me know that they were going to die. Because I thought, I said maybe, just maybe. And it'll be a cop out, but I'm fine with it. I like to see it. But the moment that they had that speech where Joel said, you know what, you can come with us. I was like, okay, that's it. That's it. Joel, you just killed this man.
Yeah, I know.
Look, I don't know exactly how I'm getting to Wyoming. I'm probably walking. What?
Yeah, I think it'd be nice for Sam to have a friend.
Yeah, it's too much bonding, too much
having fun. What's all this? Come on now.
Too much positivity. I was like, they are dead, man.
You gotta be sad.
Yeah, but man, it's a great episode. It's a great. Like the changes they made from the game, I thought were really were done very well.
There was also a very subtle change at the end there when Henry shoots himself, because in the game he says,
"You saw it, right?"
Yeah. Well, he says, "This is your fault. This is your fault," and they changed it where it's like, "What did I do?" Because I also feel like, in the game they want to make you feel guilty. Because, everything that you did led to their deaths. But even though it's not really true, it's just him projecting. But I think it's also connected to like all the events that we just saw with, Kathleen, all these other people. It's like, it's because of me. What did I do? And that's when he...
makes sense, man.
I feel like that's when he...
Yeah.
All this for nothing.
Yeah.
So it makes it even sadder with Henry.
Oh yeah. And it's also for Joel and Ellie, especially Ellie. It was like, man, out of all this misery, we were kind of having fun. It was somewhat normal for a bit, and we were enjoying things. And this is just that stamp on, no, you're not. Yeah, that's over. No more enjoying life. Just you got some place to be, and it's just gonna focus on that. Yeah.
Nice little touch at the end too. Sam was since they made him deaf, they added nice little touches to that character being deaf, which was a good closer to this episode. Oh, that little his pad there was
Etch a Sketch stencil.
Yeah. I thought that was nice, man.
Yeah, that was
his
good.
Woody Woodpecker etch a sketch. Yeah. So, yeah, man. I thought it was a very good episode, man. It packed a lot of stuff in there. It had action, tragedy. More characters, more character building, more world building. So it was good. It was good, man. And like I said, the changes that they made were done very well.
Yeah.
They're kind of writing the book on how you do an adaptation of something like this, where a portion of it, 30 to 50% of it is straight from the game.
Yeah.
And the other portion is where they expand on characters.
Yeah. And the chat is saying it's an amazing show. It has reimagined the game's story as to still make it fun and interesting to people who have played the game. People say, I love it. I'm loving it. It's great. I like it a lot. Love it. The show is great. Been loving it.